everything did work. Not only was the director a pleasure to speak with, but he was also refreshingly direct about his thoughts on the films and his contributions to cinema in general. Of the many takeaways from our conversation, the most substantial was his continuing pride and astonishment with the enduring legacy of a story that he and Gale had created more than 3 decades earlier, which wouldn't have seen the light of day were it not for their tenacity and unwavering commitment to their project. Set up a Google alert for the words "Back to the Future," and a day won't go by without a headline from someplace in the world using the title, often without having any connection to the film. Like Jaws a decade earlier, Future set a new precedent for how to create a winning summer blockbuster. As Bob Gale likes to remind aspiring screenwriters, the 3 things that matter most in a story are characters, characters, and characters. For all of its special and visual effects, the true success of the film lies with Zemeckis and Gale's airtight script, and the distinctive characters that were brought to life by their talented cast. For the 30 years that followed the first film's release, the trilogy has continued to capture the imagination of a generation who, in turn, pass these movies on to their children like beloved family heirlooms. I'm just young enough to have missed the film's theatrical run. But thanks to one of my aunts, who had what seemed like hundreds of VHS tapes when I was growing up, I had the fortunate and, for many future fans, rare experience of being introduced to Hill Valley's inhabitants for the first time in a triple feature. It was a school day, but I had a slight fever and was sent home by the school nurse. With both of my parents at work, my Aunt Stacy, who worked nights, picked me up. "I think you'll enjoy these," she said as I sat on her couch under a blanket with some chicken soup beside me. I doubt she had any idea just how much I would. She put the first film in the VCR as I studied the cardboard sleeve of the box. The design, with that guy I recognized from TV with one foot in this strange vehicle and fire running between his legs, seemed magical. I couldn't stop studying it, looking for clues about what was going to unfold over the next few hours. I knew I was in store for a movie unlike anything I had seen before. As the end credits for the first and second installment started, I raced to switch the cassettes, trying my best to continue the story as quickly as possible. When the words "The End" appeared on the screen in the last moments of Part 3, I decided to let the credits roll in their entirety. By the time my mother came to pick me up, my fever was all but forgotten. I couldn't wait to go to school the next day and tell my friends about Marty McFly, his friend Doc Brown, and the wild adventures I had spent close to 6 hours watching them get into. I have always been an avid reader of behind-the-scenes books about my favorite films and television shows, as they went into greater detail than the standard promotional making-of shows that would occasionally pop up on television in the late 1980s and early 1990s. As the 30th anniversary of Back to the Future approached, I couldn't believe that a comprehensive book on the making of one of the most culturally significant movies of the past 3 decades had yet to be written. My goal was to change that, not only by chronicling the filmmaking process, but also by showing how these 3 films left an indelible stamp on the United States and many other countries around the world. When I set out to write this book, it was important for me to speak with as many people who were associated with Back to the Future as possible. The trilogy has been well documented for the past 30 years, in magazines, fan clubs, featurettes on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray, and countless websites like backtothefuture.com, the digital hub for all things about the franchise. As one person put it to me, what else can you say about a movie that has been written about continuously for the past 30 years? But even with that abundance of information available, the mythology always felt somewhat incomplete to me. Too few people had retold the same stories too many times. A lot of the behind-the-scenes tales have become so commonplace, whether or not you know them has become a pseudo-litmus test among the die-hard.